Hello and welcome again to our channel. It's me, Tshegofatso Ramutla, and we continue from where we left off yesterday, right? Well, uploaded today. Yo, it took forever. Like, hey, connection is bad lately, with this electricity saga. Etswang ka mabomo, guys. But anyway, that's another topic for another day because yeah, it's all in their plan and they keep doing these things and we just relaxed and not doing anything about it. But anyway, we soldier on, right? So this is part two of We Are Not Alone. And just a recap on part one where we were speaking about, why I'm saying we're not alone, and from the ancient times where Cain had children, and the watchers that were meant to come and take care of humanity, so beautiful women, and they couldn't help themselves but take wives for themselves and just mingle and create their own race, which was not in God's plan. And out of these relationships or marriages came out the Nephilim, which were you know um, giants that were born, and also chimeras. And I didn't even get into that, but today we will. But yeah, these this other super race where these children were born and they became bigger than life, and they started devouring everything, fighting amongst themselves, and eventually getting a taste of blood and human blood, and started being a cabinet. Why is that word such a tongue twister to me? I don't understand. But they started practicing cannibalism. There you go, and I've got such a horsey voice today. I still have flu, but gafola in the name of Jesus. I get yeah. So God was just not having it, and He sent the flood, and Noah was there to recreate the new generation that was going to continue life after the flood. And we see that regardless of what God did, we still saw these Nephilim coming up through the ages. If you go to Numbers 13 verse 33, let me just read it for you. It says, "And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grass grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight." And it's talking about how the Nephilim was still around. So after Noah's flood, a lot happened. These bodies of these Nephilims were destroyed, but their spirits still lived on, because they were not welcomed in heaven. They were not even meant to be. They were not supposed to exist. And these spirits, which are evil spirits today, roaming around looking for bodies to possess, because they are spirits that thrive in a body. They have a very huge sexual appetite, these spirits, just like their fathers, the fallen angels, and they still torment people till today. That's why you'll find that in African culture, where people practice, being a sangoma, or a traditional healer, they will talk about, the ancestors, and these ancestors come to them in forms of different types of animals to them. But we know that these spirits were able to shapeshift because they were a super race. Normal human beings, initially we were built like angels. We were not meant to die. Hence, God said to Adam and Eve, if you eat from that tree, you will die. So that means, they were not gonna die, they were immortal. But once they did that, because they were corrupted by one of the fallen angels, which came to them in a form of a serpent, a snake, that's where we see that, shape shifting from these entities or spirits or fallen was possible. And they lied to Adam and Eve, and after doing that, they eventually died, and that's how sin was introduced to men. Till today we can't live forever. And we know that, these angels even taught us how to do makeup. And I keep talking about makeup because people think that makeup is natural, but we know it's not. We would have been born with drawn eyebrows, we would have been born with extra pairs of lashes and pink or red or blue or purple lips or blonde hair or blue hair if it wasn't God's plan. But he wants us natural like this, with no filter and any of that. So these entities taught the world how to better themselves according to them, how to beautify themselves. So they literally saying you are not authentic, your authenticness is not as beautiful as you can make it to be. That's why you can enhance it with certain things. You can wear your heels, you can wear your jeans and so much more. But it's not just fashion. I always refer to fashion because I'm from that world. But also, like, they taught the world how to write in ink on paper, which was never God's plan, because we really never needed to write anything if we were going to live forever as immortals. Because then what's the point of writing if I'm here, I'm not dying, I'm living on and on and on? Then I'll be able to tell my story without having you to write it, because you will always remember from the stories I told you or the information I gave you. So these angels taught all of that and so many more. But not only that, they then defiled the earth and mixed themselves with animals and started creating chimeras, and these chimeras were half human, half animal creatures, and in reality, we know that in Noah's days there were animals that were chosen to go on board, male and female. And what happened to the rest of the animals? They stayed and they perished too. And when Noah, after the flood came out, so did these animals, and they started reproducing. But we know that before the flood, these angels also took animals and made them, had intercourse with them, mated with them, and created these abominations. So these animals died too in the flood, because they were part of this whole thing that was happening. And yeah, those spirits were demonic spirits. And we then realized that from the flood, then the marine kingdom was created, you see. I believe that as much as it says in the Bible that these spirits, you'll find them in the air, you find them on dry land, like in caves, you can find them in forests, hidden areas, you can find them in graveyards and whatever, underground, but you can also find them in the sea. And you know as human beings, we have lungs that breathe air. We can't dive into water and go deeper and deeper to search. But we do know that from the sea, creatures have come out. I mean, like in the Bible, where Jonah, especially in Jonah, it talks about him being swallowed by a big fish, but it's actually a big monster which was Leviathan, and Leviathan is God's creature. He created Leviathan. See, it's God's pet, they say, and it swallowed Jonah to the depths of the sea, and he could pray from the belly of Leviathan and ask for forgiveness. And for 3 days he was stuck there, but God heard him from deep down in the ocean at the bottom of the sea and commanded this animal, this creature, to regurgitate him or spit him out, and it threw him right there on the shore of where he was supposed to go, which is Nineveh, instead of Tarashish, and he went to minister and everyone repented. So there are things in the sea, and a lot of people have come out and said, there are mermaids, and we realize that these mermaids are actually demonic entities. I mean, we know that they are half human, half snake people. We know that they are half human, half crocodile people, and we've seen this evident in hieroglyphics on the walls of the pyramids, half bird, half animal, which are those gods they believe in, half dog, half human. I mean, half bird, half human, yeah. So mermaids and sea monsters do exist, and when those females that slept with these fallen angels, they had hybrid babies, and God was so not pleased with them that he turned them into sirens, these women. And if you read in the book of Enoch on chapter 19, 1 and 2, it does stipulate that these females were turned into sirens. Excuse me, I need to take a call real quick. One sec. Sorry about that. I needed to take a call real quick. So let me just quickly read it to you. This verse from the book of Enoch on chapter 19, 1 and 2. Verse 1, it says, and Uriel was an angel telling Enoch about, what happened, and as Enoch was documenting all of this. And Uriel said to me, here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits assuming many different forms and defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray. You see, so they could shapeshift into anything they wanted to be. So from being an angel, they could turn into a human, and that's how it was possible for them to sleep with these women. But their DNA was so different that it caused conflict between human DNA and these fallen angels' DNA, and out of that, a super race was created. You see, because I call it super race because the offspring had enormous, crazy strength, and abilities. They could do so many things that a normal human being can't. But not only that, even their height was huge. Okay. Okay, so it says, and their spirits assuming many different forms and defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons and gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of. Verse 2, and the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens. You see, so for suddenly shall sinners perish from before. Oh, sorry, I jumped to chapter 95. But anyway, that was chapter 19. So here it's explaining that these women that slept with these angels turned into sirens. Let me speed it up, okay? So sirens, when we look at things, it means that, being a siren is being a mermaid, half human, half fish, or serpent-like a body. And the marine kingdom leads or rules the world in a sense. And why do I say that? I don't know if you have done research into the occult again, and most people that are witches, they will tell you that we travel to the bottom of the sea or in the ocean, and when we get there, there's a different life, a different kingdom altogether. I'm sure you've heard that, there was Atlantis as well, which Atlantis was a place where there was water and civilization, and they say Atlantis sank, but we don't know where that is. you know um we haven't really identified it on the map or anything like that, but there's proof that Atlantis did exist. And when people that are initiated into the dark kingdom, they will tell you that I met mermaids. I was working with mermaids. They come on the surface and they turn into human beings, and they do things that cause humanity to go astray and become evil. They kill. They also are rich in practicing sexual acts with human beings for reproduction purposes, to especially males, to gain their sperm so that they can have children. But also the females get initiated and marry these male what do they call them, mermaids, and they have children in the sea. And this is what it is, where you realize that even though we are still living in modern times, what happened back then when the angels fell is still happening. So the world, if you think about it, so sold us at birth. The rulers of this world, they really sold us, each and every individual here on earth, at birth, because we really live with maritime law, and maritime law is the law of the sea. And I jotted down a few examples here, and I will read them to you now. For example, why am I talking about maritime law? This is what it is. So when a ship comes down through the canal, right? Just like when a woman gives birth, you come down through a canal. So a ship is on the sea and it's coming to the dock and it comes down the canal. It has to produce a certificate, right, at the dock, of whatever merchandise it has. So down there in Durban, the imports coming down through the canal, when they reach the dock or the shore, they produce a certificate to show that they have merchandise that they are bringing into the country. And you go back to birthing law. And this birthing law, a child comes through the canal, the female's canal, from and where's the child coming from? When you're pregnant, there's water inside you, right? Inside the belly. So the baby's protected by water, right? And my mind is rushing. I'm also thinking about the firmament and how God separated the waters to create earth. And but anyway, your child is in water, and when you get labor pains and your water breaks, the child comes through the vaginal canal. And this is the same as your ship coming down from water through the canal. Then the child has to be caught by a doctor, and the ship is where it comes down to the dock. So you see similarities there. Then the parents have to sign a birth certificate for the child, making you government's property automatically. Because if your child doesn't have a birth certificate, then they're stuck. Oh, this is going to be a long one. So I'm guessing, we're gonna have part 3 and 4. But this is interesting stuff, so bear with me. Lesang fella pelo. I'm only here to teach what God has taught me, and I need to share it with you so you are aware of the world you live in. So, your parents will sign that birth certificate. And this law comes from the Vatican, the Catholics, this maritime law. And we know that the papacy, like I said when I was talking about the Sabbath, the video about the Sabbath, the papacy were the ones that changed religion and everything, and they ruled basically the earth, and the papacy and governments merged together. So we see that religion and politics coming together. So it's still the Vatican who came up with this law. Uh, uh, so the Catholic Church is affiliated with the Marine Kingdom. And for those that are from the Catholic Church here, I don't mean to offend anybody. This is reality, and go do research. I always say, please don't take my word for it. Do your own research and understand it. And we have two kingdoms running this world. It's the land and the sea. We have land laws and we have marine laws. And if you come to think about it, even our language, especially the English language, it's liquid language, and even money belongs to the marine kingdom. So why my specifically speaking about marine, I just want you to know that there's a kingdom under there, the marine world, and this marine world rules the earth. Remember, I did say to you guys that one day I will explain where fashion is from, and this is where I'm gonna go, and you understand why I'm I'm specifically telling you about the marine kingdom. Everything, all the meetings, all the plannings of this world, the elite, they meet under the sea. They have goddesses and rulers and these demonic entities and the fallens, and they're all there. And the marine kingdom is much alive, whether you believe it or not. So um there's admiralty law words near like, for example, the Holy See. And the seas also sounds like the sea. So your birth certificate, your citizenship, these are words that have allegories or that have alignment with the maritime liquid language. I'm just looking away because I wrote them down somewhere here. Let's take for instance leadership. That ship is there. Withdraw. Now this is money. Withdraw. Or currency. The currency of the sea, of the water, but currency also is the money you use. So we use our currency is rands. The US, they use the dollar, then there's the pound, then there's the yen, and the francs, but currency, they call it currency, which is also identified with the currency of the sea. And in markets they talk about liquid assets. you know your account has been frozen. What is frozen? Ice gets frozen, so there's liquid water there. Sometimes they say your company is bankruptcy, and what is the bank? The river bank, right? And there are so many more. Cash flow, the flow of the sea, liquidization or floating. The cashier always says, I have to count my floating. A boat floats, or something floats on sea. So this is all liquid language. You know, that is taken from that marine law. For instance, worship, we worship, but the worship that used to sail on seas, um, floating your company, your deposits, or the bank. We have the bank, different banks, loan sharks, there's so many words there. Ambassadorship, battleship, championship, membership, so many things that align with this Holy See Admiralty law, and it has its rules as well. And I want you to look at the Holy See chart, the power and wealth of it, and you will understand where this is all coming from. It's referred to as maritime law. So, dragoon or the serpent worship in churches, hence I spoke about, the papacy. They focus on dragoon, and in Revelations it speaks about the dragon. So when you go to Babylon, and on their walls they have depictions of entities which came and passed, or they are gods, and you will see that they actually dressed in a ship, a fish shaped outfit or hat. And you also see this in the Pope. He wears a hat that's shaped like a fish. Look at it, and it's there's something very fishy about Western religion, really. So um if we go deeper into Catholicism, you'll understand that there's a mixture of a dragoon worship, the serpent worship, and you can go into the Vatican, and inside the church you will actually see pictures of the structure of their church, and it's actually a head of a serpent. And where's the serpent coming from? From the Garden of Eden until today. So there was a mixture between the serpent and DNA, and these serpents are ruling the earth. And the marine kingdom, these deities have tails like the serpent. Mark chapter 5 talks about that man who was possessed by so many demons, and these demons were cast out of this person into the sea, into the pigs, and these pigs jumped away into the sea. So I want you to digest everything I've just told you today, and I want us to continue the next video, which will be chapter 3, simply because it's a lot that I need to do, and I'm cutting it into segments. So I pray that you get understanding. I want you to do your own research. Go check out the book of Enoch. Look at what sirens are, their origin, and what they are doing currently in our universe, in our time where we're sitting at right now. And I pray that God gives you discernment, understanding, and always remember to honor Him, to praise Him, to pray hard and ask for protection, and stay under the blood covenant of Christ, because there's a blood covenant out there, and it's of the serpent seed. So stay blessed. We shall continue this series on We Are Not Alone on part 3.